Dis nou vir my lekker om vir Hoppies voor te stel. Nou, julle gaan my nie glo nie, ek ken vir Hoppies seker nou so 'n bietjie meer as 'n jaar wat ons met hom te doen gekry het en ek weet nou nog nie wat sy regte naam nie. Maar ek moet sê dat het al met my ook gebeur toe ek in die hospitaal geleer het vir my beste vriende kom kuier het en toe nie geweet het wat is my van nie. Maar hulle het onthou ek's 'n dokter. En toe ek hom gelukkig die enigste dokter wat in die hospitaal in 'n bed lê, toe kon hulle by my uitkom. Maar ons is vir my lekker om met Hoppies te doen te kry. Hy dink 'n bietjie oopkop oor goeters en hy speel al 'n rukkie met dekgewasse rond. En ek het hom toe gevra om 'n bietjie om te kom sê wat is sy ondervinding daarmee en so 'n bietjie met almal te deel. So just for Australian guys, he's going to speak Afrikaans most of the time, but all the slides are in English. And you can nail him tomorrow when we get on to his farm. All right, Hoppies.
Hallo, goeiemiddag. Ja, dit is my baie lekker om die voorreg te kry om voor so baie mense te praat. Ja, ek boer saam met my pa net buite Swellendam. Hoppies Uys is my pa en ons boer met ons het 'n melkery, koring en skaap waarmee ons boer. En ons het so 'n tyd terug baie begin vra oor die grond en oor die grondlewe en ons het begin agterkom. Ja, ons het begin agterkom dat die grond is 'n lewendige organisme en ons het begin vra hoe verbeter ons hierdie grondlewe wat ons nou van weet en wat ons nou hoor. En dis waar ons toe met cover crops begin dink het oor en ook oor die geen bewerking nie. En toe het ons begin sê maar ons visie is ons wil koolstof bou en ons wil die grondlewe wil ons opstoot. We want to push the soil life, we want to lift the carbon and we want to get the soil, we want to get this living organism going, and that's when we started looking at cover crops and thinking how can we implement it into our system. Hoe gaan ons dit in ons rotasie inwerk? Hoe gaan ons dit doen? Dat is die eerste vraag eintlik. En dis toe wat ons begin kom met die why. Our first question was the why. Hoekom cover crops? Hoekom al hierdie goeters en hoe gaan dit werk? En en die grondlewe het vir ons uitgestaan en eintlik hierdie skrif in die Bybel het ook vir my uitgestaan as Jesaja 61, for as the soil makes the sprout come up and the garden causes the seed to grow, so the sovereign Lord will make righteousness and praise spring up before all the nations. And that, nou ons dit gelees het ons besef, maar it's all about the soil, it's all about the healthy good soil. En ons het toe nou ons hele teorie rondom hierdie healthy soil begin bou. En my mother is she's a math teacher, she's 'n wiskundeonderwyser en sy het altyd vir my gesê, ons moet altyd die somme uitskryf, jy weet. En so my math was the how plus the why must equal good soil. So I just want to talk today a little bit about the how and the why. Wat is my hoekoms en wat is my hoes? Wat het ek geleer? Wat foute wat ek gemaak het en wat dink ek aan ons as Wes-Kaap? What can we as South African farmers learn and what can we do maybe different? En ja, dis sommer wat ek 'n bietjie oor wil vertel nou. So the how for me is the seeding, the varieties, die terminasie daarvan, die rotasie en die why vir my is it's to cover the soil, om kompaksie te breek, om koolstof te bou en grazing. Because we've got a dairy, we've got sheep, for me it was important to get the grazing also. I wanted to see how can it improve my grazing and buffer my system. So my eerste ding wat ek geleer het oor seeding, my first lesson was we must get it in as early as possible. Ek doen dit na my kuilvoertyd. After I've made silage, I put in my cover crop as soon as possible, want ek wil my vog benut. Dis die tyd wanneer ek nog die meeste vog in die grond het. Dis vir my 'n gemaklike tyd. Dis net voor oestyd, dis nog nie so besig nie. Ek kan inkom met 'n masjien, ek kan plant en ek het gebruik my vog wat ek nog het, my early or my late winter moisture I can use optimum and it's just before harvest time, so it's not too busy yet. En ander opsies wat ek al aan gedink het is miskien na platsny. Na jy dink platsny of tydens jy dink platsny, het jy nog steeds dalk 'n kans om in te kom met iets. Dis wat ek geleer het oor die seeding. My terminasie was ek was baie bang vir vog, for moisture loss. I was very afraid of that, so I terminated the crops after 90 days. Wanneer dit blom of net begin saad maak, het besluit, okay, voor dit saad maak en voeding uit die grond trek, gaan ek my cover crop doodmaak. En daar's baie opsies wat ons na gekyk het. Ek het gekyk na bespuitings en ek het 'n roller opgeswys met kapmesse op wat ek probeer het om te kyk, kan ek dit fisies doodmaak om nog 'n bespuiting te bespaar? So daar's ander opsies, maar ek het als chemies doodgemaak op die einde. Dit is maar die maklikste op die einde van die dag. Wat is die soorte waarmee ek geproef het? I tried teff, sunflowers, forage sorghums en cowpeas. That's the 4 varieties that I mostly tried out with. En dit is wat ek ook bevind het na 2 jaar nou. Dit is wat die maklikste plant en die maklikste doodmaak en die maklikste inpas by die stelsel. Hierdie jaar gaan ek nou meer van die goed begin meng in 'n mengsel. I'm going to try and mix more of that into a seed mix. Maar dit is die variëteite wat ek op my plaas sien gemaklik werk. Wat ek baie van hou van die teff is, what I like about the teff is, it's got a shallow root system, so it breaks that topsoil compaction very easily. Hy maak lekker daai harde korsheid wat baie keer vorm op ons gronde, breek hy lekker. En it makes a mass of material. Hy maak baie materiaal hy spuit maklik dood en hy maak 'n massas materiaal en hy gee baie lekker skaapkos. Hy maak baie energie. Hy melk ook baie lekker. Die koeie gee, the dairy gives a lot of milk on teff. It's got a lot of energy. Hy gee baie hoë energie. Wat ek hou van die sonneblomme is, hy het 'n penwortel, it's got a taproot of sunflowers. Hy breek lekker die grond op. Hy maak 'n regtig ordentlike penwortel wat kompaksie breek en hy spuit ook baie maklik dood. It just smells 2,4-D in its dead, so hy maak maklik dood. Dis nie 'n ingewikkelde gewasie. Ek het voer sorghums geplant. Hy maak lekker forage sorghums, got a very big root system, breaks soil en dit bou lekker humus of hy het lekker wortels wat daar in die grond sit en it makes masses of material. En die cowpeas het ek geplant juis vir die stikstof. Ek wil gekyk het na iets om stikstof in die grond in te bring. My first year with cowpeas was a die mekaar besigheid, didn't work so well. Het nie baie lekker ontkiem nie. But the areas where it well germinated en waar ek 'n lekker stand gekry het, hy bind baie lekker stikstof, hy het 'n baie lekker wortelstelsel, hy het baie knoppies op, so hy bind baie lekker stikstof. Ja, wat ek geleer het is I don't have to look at the cover crops as this big another thing I have to do on a farm. It just goes in with my rotation. It just forms part of my rotation. So ek gooi dit in met die kuilvoertyd. Dis net nog iets om diversiteit in te bring en is om my kuilvoer na kuilvoerland het ek die materiaal, so ek wil materiaal op daai land kry. So dit is maar net vir my wat ek geleer het is ons moet net nie as hierdie uitdaging sien van jy moet nou jou hele plaas cover crops plant nie. You should just look at it as part of your rotation en hoe kan jy dit op 'n klein skaal iewers inbring? Dalk in 'n losering fase wat jy wil uithaal in plaas om dit brak te los, plant net in die laat winter 'n ding wat vir jou massas materiaal gaan gee om weg te trek met 'n kamp wat materiaal het. So ons moet net kyk na die rotasie. My whys is oor die cover. Dis wat ek geleer het. I want cover on my soil. I want masses of cover on my soil. It protects from the heat. It helps me save moisture. Ek het hierdie jaar weer gesien met 'n jaar wat ons when we had a difficult seeding season this year. Ek het maar net gesien weer die kampe wat materiaal het, is die kampe wat vog het. Dit is maar net so. Carbon, een groot ding wat ek sien met hierdie cover crops is in the winter, my paddocks are alive. There's earthworms, there's bugs, there's something cycling that nutrients in the winter that isn't on the paddocks that didn't have a cover crop. En dit is, jy kan dit met die blote oog sien, daai kamp is, dit lyk of ek kunsmis uitgegooi het, soos wat die aardwurms daar werk, en daai voersorghums, en in daai sonneblomwortels, wat nou lê en vrot daar in die grond, en dit maak my baie opgewonde, want dit sê vir my, daar's iets aan die gang in die grond. Baie interessant, vir my groot ding is, I want to relieve compaction. Wat ek wel sien is, ek het hierdie jaar gedoen, ek het 'n boereproef sommer gedoen, ek het 'n peronometer gevat, en I went to test compaction, and I pressed it in at my neighbor's paddock, waar hulle nog geploeg het, and I got about 12 centimeter deep. I went where we planted with the disc and with the tine, waar ons met die tand en die skottel geplant het, en I also got 12 12 centimeters, but when I went to the cover crop, toe ek het ingesteek, and I went to a place where it's close to a dead root system, and I went 15 to 17 centimeters deep. So, iets sê vir my, the biology is going to help us break that compaction, of dis wat ek nou sommer met die oog sien, dit voel vir my die wortels gaan vir ons help om kompaksie te verlig, en dis vir my belangrik. Die ander voordeel wat ek sien, my why for my farm is, it benefits my livestock. Ek het in 'n jaar deurgegaan wat ek 'n sak voer gekoop het hier. Ek het, I get return on my investment. If the seed's expensive, I don't worry, because I've got milk in the end of the day in the tank. I only graze, my streng reël is net, it's a quick graze, so it's not to remove material, it's just to get my return on investment. So it's a quick graze, get the energy, get my money back into the milk, and that's it. Then the livestock is off of that paddock again to get material. Wat ek wel leer is, I try to graze earlier. Ek probeer nie te laat wy nie, want ek wil hê die plante moet weer materiaal uitgroei. So ek kom in 40 days after planting, a quick graze, because then the sugar in the plant is very high, but it's also got time to grow out again. So ek wil nie die materiaal verwyder nie. Hier is net 'n klomp foto's wat ek wil wys, sommer net vir interessantheid. But before I start, I should maybe tell the joke. Ek was last week I was at the No-Till conference in Natal, and there's this one farmer I met from Prieska, and he was at the boeredag, and one of the guys was selling them some poison for the slakke, for the snails. En hy vra toe vir die ou, maar wat het hierdie gif nou? What does this poison have to do? What is it effects on the earthworm populations in my soil? En die gif rep kyk hom so en hy sê, what? You have an earthworm problem as well. So I just thought that was very funny. But this is just to show the mindset sometimes. But this is some photos. This is a photo van sonneblomme, millet, and I think there was some cowpeas in there as well, but it's difficult to see. This is an area that ek het dit net gaan plat trap. This is just before I wanted to terminate the crop. Ek het net 'n kool gevat, sê maar so groot as hierdie blok, and I just went and I trampled it down with my feet just to see what's happening there and how does it look, how much material is there. En julle kan sien, and this has been grazed. Hier's massas materiaal. This is a lot of material. And that's the sorghums that I planted. There in the background, where's hierdie liggie nou? There's the tractor standing. You can't even see the tractor. Daai goed groei bo my trekker se bonnet uit daarso. So that is a massive material that this stuff is creating. I was tempted to make silage out of this again. That's a week after, daai area wat ek nou plat getrap het, dis 'n week na ek nou net, this is a week after I've trampled that sunflowers. I just went to scratch it in the soil. Daarso is 'n stukkie beesmis nog, but check the fungi growing there. There's a whole white strand of fungi growing there, breaking down that material. That's 1 week after those stuff is breaking down. So that's very interesting to me. And in that same area, I counted more than 6-7 goggaatjies wat daai goed begin afbreek, en dit is my net interessant om te sien hoe daai besigheid begin, hoe die siklus begin. That's a canola plant on that same spot where I trampled down the selfe plek waar ek daai sonneblomme goed plat getrap het 'n canola hierdie jaar geplant. This is a canola plant from that same spot where I trampled down the cover crop. That plant is 2 times my foot size before it started shooting longination. So dit's 'n groot canola plant. Daai ding het hier gestaan. So vir my is net hoe groter die plant voor hy blomstoot, hoe groter moet sy potensiaal wees om 'n oes te maak. En dis net vir my interessant, en kyk net daai wortels. Just look at the nice root development there as well. Ja, so dis 'n foto van die kamp. It's 11 hectares. My seeding and my terminating costs was around R1,380. Ek het R2,200 se melk gemaak. I made a R918 profit off of my cover crop. So dit betaal vir volgende jaar se kunsmis dan ten minste vir die volgende gewas. Dis wat vir my positief is. And that's the same canola, the same angle. I don't know if you can see, there's the tank. There's the same tank there. So it's the same crop. And it's now canola, and ek wil nie jokkie, maar daai canola is baie mooi. There's nothing wrong with that canola. Wat vir my net interessant is, what's very interesting to me is, waar my cover crop swak groei, is my interessant, is dieselfde plek waar my kontant gewas, waar 'n swak kol in die kamp is. So iets sê vir my, daar's iets anders fout, dis nie die gewas wat steel nie, daar moet iets anders fout wees met die grond daar, want hoekom doen 2 agtereenvolgende gewasse in dieselfde area, hulle trek altyd swaar in daai area, so dit moet iets, die grond bly maar die gemeene faktor vir my. That's the same spot, dis dieselfde plek where I trampled down that cover crop, that's the canola growing there, that's just to show, there's some leaves, but daar is nie baie materiaal oor nie, daar's 'n canola stok, daar's 'n sonneblomstok nog oor, that's a sunflower stalk, but in general there's some canola leaves that's falling off, but in general there isn't a lot of material left, it just rots away, it gets digested en dit kom in die stelsel en dit maak my opgewonde. Dit is 'n bietjie moeilik om op die foto te sien, but that whole area is full of earthworm castings. Dit is regtig, dit is heeltemal lewendig. Hierdie is 'n kamp, just to show a photo. Daai kamp, niks cover croppie. This one has got sun hemp and millet and I don't know whatever was in the mix there. This is at 9 of the 12, so this is about 2 months. I planted it at the 9th of October, so this is 2 maande. This is about 2 months worth of growth. This is just before I grazed it. The temperatures was daar was omtrent so 6 na 8 grade verskil tussen daai kamp en die kamp in temperatuur. Hierdie kamp was baie koeler as daai kamp. En dit is nou in Desember en hierso was die grond, ek kan nie glo, I couldn't believe how this plants is growing with almost no moisture. It is amazing. But wat ek leer is, ek dink dit is hoekom ons moet met die regte tyd van saai tyd wegtrek. As jy daai plantjie net 'n kickstart gee, dan kom die plante wragtig ver met min volg. That's the 2 fields, both of them are wheat now, the same variety. Ek weet nie wat dit in Engels, ek het maar gesê iets, maar ek het die are gaan tel, daar's 19 huisies op die cover crop se kamp en daar's 20 op die ander een, so daar's een verskil, maar in die algemeen kan daar's niks wat ek nou kan sien op daai kamp, wat vir my, there's no difference that I can see, there's one head difference in general, but I can't see any difference between the size of the heads and anything, it looks perfect, and this is, both of them are wheat now. So ek is opgewonde oor die gewas wat daar staan. Ek kan nie sien dat daar nie 'n swak oes gaan wees op daai kampie. This is just a photo. Dis 'n foto om net te wys how much earthworm activity is going on in that soil. It's amazing to see the structure going. En ek kan met van daai kampe grawe, I can dig into that soil about so amper tot hier by my horlosie met my hand, net so as daar nou 'n bietjie vog is. En dit is Ek kan nie verstaan, dit lyk glad nie vir my of kompaksie 'n probleem is. So dit maak my opgewonde oor die struktuur wat besig is om te vorm in daai grond. This is 'n foto in the summer. Ek het 'n gat gegrawe om te kyk waar gaan hierdie goed se wortels. Where does this cover crop's roots go? I was interested to see where it goes and what happens. Daar kan julle sien by my hand. Julle kan duidelik sien by my hand, die grond se struktuur is heeltemal anders. Dit is amper soos hier's nog 'n ploeglaag hier as jy mens so kan sê. En dis omtrent 12 cm en dit is baie wortels hier, maar kyk hier onder, kyk net, look at this roots is popping out here at the bottom here as well. Most of the roots is concentrated here, but still there's roots coming out here. So tog voel ek ons gaan ons kompaksie oplos deur meer ons moet meer iets kry wat ons wortels, wat vir ons hierdie grond ook, that can put this soil into production as well. I need to put stuff in here to get this area of my soil into production also. En dit maak my opgewonde, want dit lyk vir my wortels gaan dit vir ons doen. So ek eindig af weer met 'n why. En dit kom weer vir my terug na die why toe. Ek voel al ons vra die hele tyd hoe. We keep on asking how must I disc? Must it be tines? Must it not be tines? Must it be this? Must it be cover crop? We're focusing so much on the how. Ons fokus so baie op die hoe in hierdie som, maar ons vergeet van die why. Ons moet eers, for me, we've got to understand the why, and then the how will play itself out. We'll fit the how in with the why. But we need both of them to get the good soil. En ek dink ons moet meer fokus om vir onsself te vra, hoekom doen ek dit? Hoekom bewaringslandbou? Hoekom cover crops? Hoekom skottel en nie skottel nie? Ons moet nie te veel issues maak van die tegniese detail en ons moet na die why toe kom, want as ons die why het, doen ons dit om te oorleef, doen ons dit omdat dit nou wins bespaar, doen ons dit omdat dit die nuwe fashion is, of doen ons dit omdat ons 'n steward is of soil and creation, doen ons dit omdat ons wil kyk na hierdie grond en omdat ons dit wil lewendig hou, soos Dr. Karen ook gesê, daar is so komplekse goed daar binne, doen ons dit vir die lewe om daai goed aan die gang te hou, of is dit maar net nog 'n ding wat ons doen? As ons dit verstaan, voel ek, dan sal die house self in plek val. Ja, en dis my storie. Ek wil net vinnig kyk, hier was 'n paar lesse wat ek net wou gesê wat ek geleer het ook. Yes, dit gaan vir my oor die lewe van die stelsel, besef ek. The system must bring life, en ek voel cover crops gaan ons help om dit te doen. Ek gaan ook kyk na radyse. Ek het laas jaar in die winter Japaneese radyse gesaai, lekker veiding, uitstekende veiding. Ek gaan nou weer dit in die somer begin bymeng. Daai ding het 'n lieflike penwortel wat grond breek en hy gee regtig lekker skaapkos ook. Ja, ek gaan nie weer babala saai nie. Ek het babala gesaai. Ek is bekommerd. Dis 'n gewas wat 'n bietjie te veel vog steel by ons. Hy's 'n harde gewas, hy maak baie moeilik dood. So ek het geleer ons moet meer navorsing doen. I agree, we've got to do more research. What crops do we plant? Because some of them are going to be hard on our soils, and it's definitely going to put a risk on next year's cash crop. Wat ek ook wel geleer het, it's the second year's crop that does even better on that cover crop. Dit is een ding wat vir my interessant is. So hoe gaan dit in my rotasie lyk? Want ek het agtergekom, dit is nie die gewas volgende jaar na hierdie cover crop hier, dis die een daarna wat ek duidelik kan sien wat baie beter doen. So is asof die grond 'n tyd vat om daai nutriënte en daai koolstof wat jy nou ingeplaas het deur te werk, laat dit vir die gewasse beskikbaar raak, wat my opgewonde maak. Maar dit maak vir my baie meer, laat my meer besef, ons moet baie beter beplan met cover crops, want jy moet nou al weet presies, wat gaan jy oor 2-3 jaar eintlik op daai grond wil doen, want dit gaan nou besluit wat jy nou gaan plant as 'n cover crop. So jou beplanning gaan moet skerp wees, vir dit kom ek agter. Ja, ja, die definitief wat ek gesien het, daar is definitief onkruidkompetisie, maar dan moet jy jou kamp skoon spuit in die begin, en jy moet dit vestig, dat jy daai kompetisie kan kry. Dit help jy probeer dit in onkruidplant om onderdrukking te kry of so nie, dis tydmors, dit gaan nie werk nie. Dan kry jy net onkruidsaad volgende jaar, dit is maar wat ek ook geleer het. Yes, en dan wil ek net, I just want to end off with saying, if you say it won't work for you, you are correct, then it won't work for you. So, and it's more than a mind shift change, it's meer as 'n kopskuif hierdie, it's almost a heart change, dis meer as net 'n kopskuif vir my. Maar met die plante ek wil afsluit met die een storie wat ek ook by Natal geleer het. Daar was 'n ou, there was a guy, agronomist at Natal, and he told of a contract that they had to do. They had a contract in Egypt. They were contracted to come and farm maize in Egypt, in the desert. En dit is net sand, dis woestyn. And they didn't know what to do. In the first year, they dug hulle het boorgate gegrawe vir die spulpunte. En hulle het die eerste jaar mielies geplant en die mielies het so, the maize grew like this, because they tried to do it hydroponically, putting the feed through the water en alles, en dit het nie gewerk nie. En toe gaan hulle oor en hulle plant lucerne op daai inwoestynsand, in the desert, they planted lucerne for 4 years, and they started growing soil, en toe boer hulle mielies na 3 jaar. So wat het my net weer laat besef het is, if we want to grow soil, we're going to need plants. So plants grow soil. So ja, ons die cover crop dink ek gaan ons help om ons grond te verbeter, en dis maar die lesse wat ek geleer het, en ja, hoop dit beteken vir iemand iets, en baie dankie.
Enige vrae? Any questions for Hoppies? We have a little bit time. Sakkie.
Ja, ek het nog nie so baie sade gemeng met mekaar nie. Eers wat ek gedoen het is, wat Ek het nog nie baie saad gemeng met mekaar nie. Ek het eers proewe geplant, soos daai voersorgums wat julle gesien het, is skoon geplant, net om eers te kyk hoe lyk die stand, hoe doen dit alleen, en die tef het ek ook redelik alleen geplant eers, net om te kyk wat ontkiem die maklikste by ons. Dis my eerste lesse wat ek wou leer, maar ek sal nie tef, ek weet nie, ek is nog nie weet nog nie lekker hoe mens al daai goed gaan meng nie, maar ek dink mens moet maar plante vat soos die sorghums en die sonneblomme meng ek, want ek weet hulle groei hoogtes en goed is min of meer dieselfde, maar ek weet nie hoe lekker hoe die tef gaan werk, want ek is bang die een oorskadu die ander een en dan so, maar ek het nog self nie baie meer as 2 of 3 goed regtig gemeng nie, so ek kan nog nie regtig sê hoe mense dit gaan doen of so nie. Ek plant maar nog redelik goed wat dieselfde hoogte groei, maar eers saam mekaar en die ander goed, soos die akkerbone en die tef wat nou weer laer groei, plant ek weer apart. Maar die tef strooi ek tussenin uit, tef wil glad eers in die grond kom nie, verstaan? Hy moet net sommer so bo op die grond lê en vasgerol raak, dan die eerste volgie wat hy gaan net aan. Hy moet glad eers eintlik onder die grond kom nie, ja. So ek hoop dit beantwoord so half die antwoord.
I'm gonna ask the question now. Tom, the question was from Saki was to Hoppies, but if you put it in a mix, and you have a lot of different species going into that mix, about the seeding depth, obviously some of them have other seeding depths than other, but if you put a mix, you can't really change. How do you do that?
Obviously you got to sow everything the same, so there's a couple of options. I mean, most things in the summertime, it's got to do with, if your soils are warm, then things are going to come up. If you wanted to, and now on my drill, I can sow down one rank, like down the front rank or down the back rank. So I could, if there's a big difference in seeding depth, what I could do is I could set my front rank up to sow a bit deeper. So change the depth gauge wheel, put it in a couple of notches deeper, and then divert, say, 50% of my seed down that one, the ones I want, and then do the same with the back rank, maybe a little bit shallower, and then divert the seeds that way. But I can do that because I'm on narrow rows. I'm on 6-inch rows, but if you were out on 12-inch rows, then you'd have 24 inches of different plants. So, but yeah, that is a key, but for some reason, and I don't know why, but even in the summertime when we were sowing, say a very small seed like tillage radish, we were putting that into 1.5 to 2 inches deep, and it was coming up. So try and just get it under the ground, put it into moisture if it's there, and let Mother Nature do what it's got to do.
Another question? Well, you can ask questions to any of the speakers now if you will. We still have a little bit of time. Otherwise, you can just corner them around lunch. Just, Chris? Let me just get the mic to the Australian guys, thanks. Greg, there's a mic coming.
No worries. So, look, I spoke about this the other day a little bit, but I guess we're moving to a whole farm hygiene, stopping seed set and looking at ways of taking out weeds at different times. So, for example, crop topping wheat. You can't crop top barley because herbicide will touch the grain, and that's a very big issue in the supply chain, but wheat can be crop topped at about 35% moisture. All it's going to do is dry down from there. We've also found crop topping wheat, you can actually increase the yield in dry years because you take out some of the tillers that don't ever come to anything. But to make that effective, you've got to have good early control, or else your ryegrass or whatever is going to beat you to it. Other things like if you are cutting canola, like windrowing it, is to put some herbicide in under the cutter bar and take out weeds at that time. Things like chaff carts have been pretty popular over the years, and that's worked really well. Now, it's not to say that's easy, and I know that some people have slopes, and carrying a cart around behind them is more dangerous than whatever. But in terms of capturing weed seeds, that's been a big focus. That's sort of led into things like the Harrington Seed Destructor. I don't know if you've seen that technology, and that's not quite there in terms of being commercially available, but the whole principle of seed capture is important. Windrow burning, where we're just getting a narrow row and then trying to not burn the whole paddock. But I mean, I'm not a big fan of burning at all, but if you are going to do it for a purpose. Put that heat and light energy that you've taken water and fertiliser to get there, use it for a purpose, such as taking out weeds. We have a number of herbicides that are water soluble, such as Sakura, Box of Gold, and Box of Gold is actually quite good at doing a split application, and so we find it's much more effective. You get a longer window, which means again that your ability to kill seeds later is better because they're less mature. Controlled traffic and just not digging the soil is a big one. I've got to say, some people talk about strategic tillage. I don't know what's strategic about tillage at all, but nevertheless, when we've got people who have systems that have been doing zero-till low disturbance for a number of years, we're finding all the weed seeds are on the surface. One of the big issues with herbicide efficacy is when you cultivate, whether it's 4 years or 2 years or every year, is you have a weed seed bank that's through the top 2 or 3 inches. And what's important for us is early sowing, and therefore we want our weeds to come up early for knockdown control. And if it's at 2 inches down, that ain't coming down, that's not going to come up on that 5 mil early rain. But if you can keep them all on the surface, our work, I guess, shows that predation and wetting and drying cycles will take out 70-80% of ryegrass seeds anyway. They love to be tilled into the ground. They don't like being on the soil surface, and they don't like being around where the other plant material is degrading, and that's where they will rot and die. And so there's not one single thing. It's a whole, I guess, integrated program, the technical word for it. But even some places that have moved to controlled traffic. Tom showed the photo of him, where Dad drove over the crop. But people have other photos where there's a whole lot of weeds that come up in those lines as well. So we think controlled traffic's important in the whole weed control. So yeah, I mean, there's no one set answer, but making sure you've got multiple things. Now, one thing that we think is also of interest is it's going to be difficult to grow summer cover crops after a wheat has been finished. So we're talking about harvesting wheat, say the week before Christmas. In our country, it's 36, getting up towards 40 degrees by that time of year. So trying to get crop established is difficult. But if you were to leave that paddock out, if we had a significant weed problem, and you could let weeds come up through April, May, June, July, or whatever, and actually put in something like sunflowers at August, September, you've actually been able to, you can control all of those weeds, okay? Now, sunflowers in our area sell, because they're not grown in the area, they're selling for, $1,500 a tonne. That's pretty good money. If you can grow 1 tonne, you can cover costs. Shake up the rotation. Shake it up. Don't just do the same thing all the time. And if you can do something that allows you to, get money back, and doesn't have to, make lots and lots of money, but is giving you long-term benefiting weed seed set control, grow something a little bit out of spec. Whether that's going in early or going in late, all that sort of thing. So if you're just going to do the same old stuff, those weeds will adapt. And if it comes like, for example, even hay cutting, I don't know what your hay market's like, but where we were cutting oat and vetch and oat hay, and oat and hay became a big part of ryegrass control in the transition period of no-till. But ryegrass started to sprawl, so it will do stuff to counteract no matter what you do, and therefore no one single strategy will work. So keep shaking it up, keep doing it different, and have multiple programs integrated programs just to keep hammering it every time.
So Albert Einstein said that the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. So if you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results, there's no chance in hell. But I just wanted to, what Greg just said about leaving the seeds on top. Now, our two major chemicals, Sakura and Boxer Gold, how they work is they are both root uptake chemicals. So if you've got your ryegrass spread through that much soil, that chemical cannot be uptaken by the root systems. In my system, where I've been zero-till for now 14 years, and I've got plant competition, all my weed seeds are on top of the ground, and as soon as I spray Boxer Gold or Sakura, that weed seed puts its root systems out the seed into the ground, and straight away it's getting Sakura and Boxer Gold. So I don't know if you guys have Boxer Gold here or not. Do you know? You do? Okay. So there's some work. Dr. Chris Preston out of Adelaide Uni's been doing a lot of work with Boxer Gold lately, and both Sakura. Boxer Gold, I don't know if this is not on label, then you didn't hear it from me. But we spray Boxer Gold post-emergent on wheat, and it works really, really well. So what happens is you get your wheat up, you get your wheat going, and then those ryegrass seeds eventually just take a little bit of time and get going. Once the wheat is up, then we go over the top with Boxer Gold. So there is a little bit of shoot uptake in Boxer Gold, but it is mainly root uptake. Now, up to 2-leaf ryegrass, Boxer Gold will have effect on. Anything above 2-leaf, too late. And Sakura, so we're putting Sakura, we can either put Sakura on post-seeding pre-emergent or pre-seeding pre-emergent. And that's where we are now. I do like to put Sakura post-seeding pre-emergent because you do get some Sakura in the row, and Sakura is quite safe on wheat as long as you don't get a very big rainfall event. And I think that's what we heard the other day. Some of your pre-emergent chemicals, if you do get a very big rain on it after seeding on dry soil, you can get chemical wash. But if I can say one thing about ryegrass is, again, ryegrass loves cultivation and it hates competition. So stop the tillage, narrow rows, get your weed up on the same day.
Thanks. All right, that's about the time we have for. Let's just do a quick organisation items. We're going to go out and have lunch now, and please note there is lunch for everybody. So don't go away and say you didn't get lunch. There is actually lunch for everybody. And just before you get your plate of food, just go and pick up the goodie bag. Otherwise, you're going to forget that, and we don't want to sit with those things, please. So go and have lunch. Enjoy. Oh, sorry. Can we just get the speakers and the committee guys up front for a picture, please?